Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So we're going to be talking about area of a triangle when two sides of the length are known in a right angle triangle, okay? So like I always say, try as much as possible to review the previous video, okay? Try as much as possible to review it, have a look at it, and make sure you understood it before you move on to this. And if you've not subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe and click on the like button so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know. So that's especially when you click the notification bell. All right, so let's get straight into it. So when two sides are known in a right angle triangle, so basically you have a particular right angle triangle, okay? And basically you know the base and the height, okay? You can use Pythagoras theorem, okay, to get the other sides, okay? Maybe in this time maybe call this C or this point here. But the most important sides to know here is the height and the base, okay? So, but in any case, even though you are given another different type of triangle and you know just one or two sides from it, you can use Pythagoras theorem to get the other side because you know that the C squared is equal to A squared plus what? B squared, okay? Or in some cases, you can use the distance formula if you know the vertices, okay? So that's for that. So to get the area of a triangle for this kind of cases, the area is equal to 1 over 2, the base times the what? Then the height. So the area is 1 over 2 multiplied by the base and the height, okay? So where B is equal to the base and H is equal to the height. Okay, so and remember, you need to know that when we talk about height, height must be the segment that passes through the triangle point and is perpendicular to the base. So the height it passes through the segment and is perpendicular to the base. So the height must always be perpendicular to the base. Is that okay? All right, so how do you now find the area for this? There are 3 rules or 3 steps to do. The first thing is that you have to first identify. You have to identify the base and height. Of the triangle, okay? So you have to identify the base and height of the triangle. So you can use Pythagoras theorem. Like I said, you can use Pythagoras theorem to find the third side. So you can use Pythagoras theorem to find the third side if two sides are already known, okay? Or you can also use the distance formula if the coordinates are known, okay? You can use the distance formula. So the Pythagoras theorem is C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So if you know two sides and you are looking for the third side, or you can use the distance formula if you know the coordinates, which is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared, okay? Then when you're done with that, number 2, you then substitute it into the formula. All right, and you know the formula for this, the area is equal to 1 over 2 times base times what? Height. Then the third thing here as well is that after you're done with that, you then simplify, okay? And after you're done with that, you then simplify. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same example from the previous video, okay? But this time I'm going to use 1 over 2 base times height because from the previous video, the example we solved, the triangle we had was a right angle triangle. So that means it also is going to fall in place here as well. So we're going to solve this question together, all right? So we're going to solve it together. So before we start, just to remind you that for the area of a triangle, you need the two sides, the two major sides you need to solve this. is the height and the base, and the height must be perpendicular to the base. Is that okay? And the area is 1/2 times base times height. So the first thing you have to first identify the base and the height. So you can either use the Pythagoras theorem or the distance formula. After that, you substitute it into the formula, 1/2 times base times height. And then after that, you simplify. So let's pick this example. Example 1. So we have given that line PQ intersects the coordinate axis So like I said, when we say coordinate axis, we're talking about the X and Y axis, okay? At 0, 4 and 3, 0. Find the area of OPQ. Okay, so the first step, we'll try and see to draw this. So we are having a triangle here. So we are told the first one, the y-intercept is at point P at 0 and 4, and the x-intercept is at point Q at what? 3 and 0. So that means we are having, this is the line PQ. So we're told to find the area of this triangle here. And as you can see from here, this is a right angle what? Triangle. All right. So that means we can now say that the base here is going to be OQ. And we have the height here is going to be what? OP. Okay. So now what we can now do, so this is OQ and this is OP. So now we can use the distance formula to get the distance here. Okay. The coordinates for the origin is 0 and 0. So we'll start for OQ, which is the base. We know that the O we have is the coordinates is 0 and 0, and the Q, the coordinates for the Q is 3 and 0. Okay, so we know this is the x1, y1, this is x2, y2. And we know the distance formula is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. And that will give us square root of x2, 3 minus 0 squared plus y2 is 0 minus 0 all squared. And therefore, the answer we're going to have for the base will be equal to, this will give you square root of 9, and that will be equal to 3. So the base, which is OQ, will be equal to 3. Okay? Then the next one, we're going to look for OP. So we have O and we have P. The O we have is 0 and 0, and the P we have is 0 and 4. So we can say this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. And we know we can get the distance. The distance formula for this is square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And that will give you square root of x2 will be 0 minus 0 squared plus y2 is 4 minus 0 all squared. And this, which is equal to the height, which is the same thing as OP, will be equal to, this will be 0 plus 4 squared, that is 16. 16 square root of 16 will give you 4. Okay? So that means we can now draw this triangle here. The height here is 4, and the base here is what? 3. Okay? So the next step, step 2, we then have to find the area. Step 2, substitute the formula to find the area. So let's go. So the area is equal to 1 over 2 times base times height. And I'll give you 1 over 2 times, what was the base? The base was 3 and the height was 4. So times 3 times 4. Then, and this will give you step 3. Will give you 1 over 2 times 12, which is equal to what? 6. So the area for this triangle, as a result of this line intersecting at these 2 points, the area of this triangle being enclosed is what? 6. Okay, so that will be that for that. So, so just don't forget, the first step is that you have to identify the length of each of them. You can either use distance formula or Pythagoras, depending on the data you have. Then after you've done that, you apply it into the formula. Then you now what? You simplify. So let's pick one more example to just round this up, okay? So example 2, we're told that given A is 0 and 4, B is 3 and 0, and C is 0 and minus 4, okay? We're told now to find the area of triangle ABC, okay? So step 1, okay? So if you want to, you can decide to draw this, okay? So A, we're told A is 0 and 4, so this is point A here, 0 and 4. Point B is 3 and 4, so let's call this point B here. We're so 3 and 0, and point C somewhere here is 0 and minus 4. Okay, so the triangle we're gonna have will be this triangle here. Okay, so this is the triangle we have here. All right, so when you look at this now, we have this triangle here and we're told to find the area. Okay, now, like I said, because we have the 3 vertices, we can use the other formula we talked about, but this case here, I want to apply this method here, okay? So you will see that we can assume that AC here should be the base, okay? So AC should be the base here, okay? Then, because AC is on the y-axis, so this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, so we can say BC is a segment, okay? It's a segment that passes through B and it's on the x-axis. So that means you can look at this BC to be a segment, okay? So BC could also be a segment. So as you also know that the x-axis is perpendicular to the y-axis, so that means we can now say AC is perpendicular to BO. So we can say this part is perpendicular here. So remember I told you that the height have to be what? Perpendicular to the base. So we can now say that BO, okay, we can say BO is the height okay? So BO is the height of, is that making sense? So if you look at B and this is O, the origin, is that making sense? So B and O. Now this A and C is the base. Is that okay? So remember I told you when we talked about it earlier that the base, the height has to be perpendicular to the base. Is that okay? The height has to be perpendicular to the base. So what we then need to do, we just need to find the distance of the base here, AC, and we need to then find the distance of the height, which is OB. Okay, so AC, we can find AC, which is equal to, we know the A and the C. The A is what? 0 and 4, and the C is 0 and minus 4. Okay, and we know the formula for, this is the X1, y1. This is going to be x2, y2. So we know the distance is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 squared minus y2, plus y2 minus y1 all squared. And that will give us square root of x2, which is 0 minus 0 squared, plus y2 is minus 4 all squared. And then our AC, which is equal to the base, will be equal to what? 8. Okay? Will be equal to what? 8. Now we can do the same thing as well. So that means we can say the base we have for this is what? 8. We can also find BO or OB, which is the height. So we can say OB, which is the height. So we know the O and the B. The O is origin, 0 and 0, and the B is what? 3 and 0. We know the distance formula is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 all what? Squared. So that'll give us square root of x2. Okay, so we can call this x1, y1. x2, y2. So it's going to give us 3 minus 0 all squared plus 0 minus 0 all squared. Then the OB, which is equal to the height. So that will give us what? This is 3 minus 3 squared will give you 9. Square root of 9 will give you what? 3. So that means we can now say the height is what? For this is equal to 3. Then having that in mind, we can now find the area. So step 2, we know that the area is equal to 1/2 times the base times what? The height. Will be 1/2. What is the base? The base is 8 and the height is 3. 8 times 3. So step 3, which we are meant to simplify, will give you 1/2 times 24, and that will give you what? 12. So that the area for this is 12. And with that now, that will bring us to the end of this. Okay, so the next video, we'll talk about area of a triangle when all 3 sides are known. All right, area of a triangle when all 3 sides are known. So this is for area when you know 2 sides of a right angle. Okay, and like I said, you can get a third side by using either Pythagoras theorem or distance formula. And also the most important sides to know is the base and the height. And the area is 1/2 base times height. And I also explained that in order to do this, you first identify the base and height. Then after that, you substitute it into the formula. Then you simplify. Okay? All right. That is that for that. And thank you once again. And please don't forget to subscribe. If you have any question or you have any a comment, drop it in the comment section, or you can send me an email and I will get back to you. So I'm going to see you in the next video where we'll talk about how do you find the area of the triangle when all 3 sides are known. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.